So I'm Heather, I live in Carlisle. As well as working, I'm a keen triathlete. I do an awful lot of swimming, cycling and running, and whenever I can I like to come and swim in the lakes and be in the outdoors. So my challenge is to swim in all of the lakes in the Lake District that I'm allowed to swim in. I've already swum in Buttermere, Derwentwater, Rydal Water and Grasmere, but I'd like to swim in all of them. And I'd like to do it to prove that I can and to prove that I'm well enough to do it again. I've always been active, I've always been busy. I used to go running and swimming with my dad when I was little. When I moved up to Carlisle, I got involved with the Tri Club, so started competing in triathlon and long distance running events as well, and kind of rekindled my love of swimming in the outdoors through triathlon. But then in September 2009 I was ill with swine flu, so I was fairly seriously ill for a few months then. And I went back to work but wasn't really properly better. Tried to carry on with work but kept being ill, kept having to come home sick. And then in September 2010 my immune system crashed altogether. I kept collapsing at school, I kept collapsing if I was out walking the dogs. I couldn't breathe properly. I was in and out of the doctors all the time for tests to see what was wrong with me, and no one seemed to have any answers. And the final straw came one day when I couldn't stand up, and the doctors said to me that if I'd moved I was going to have a stroke because my heart rate was through the roof and that my immune system had broken down completely. I was put into hospital. I was very ill for a few weeks and was very lucky to get through those few weeks. Then, as part of my recovery, because my immune system had broken down so much I couldn't cope with anything, and at that point I couldn't have told you what my phone number was, I couldn't have told you what my address was, I just couldn't remember things or process anything, and I couldn't cope with noises, I couldn't cope with being outside, and I couldn't stand up and walk for very long at all. I was asleep all of the time. My body just needed the rest, and I slept for 20 hours out of every 24. So I'd maybe wake up and go and have a shower, and then I'd be exhausted and have to go back to sleep again. Or I'd get up and eat and then have to go back to bed again. Virtually never left the house and just was asleep, and I don't really remember very much about it. I was asleep, that was it. And eventually the sleep started to make me better. My body started to have time to repair itself, and I could start going out and doing things. And I found going outside quite overwhelming at first, the noise and all the different things that were needing to be processed was quite overwhelming. And then as I slowly got better and could start doing more, I could start building up and being outside for like an hour at a time. And I used to start coming down to the lakes. And swimming is a way of switching off. There's less to process, there's not people talking at me. It means I can be outside and I can be me and just be peaceful and calm. There was a point where the doctors had said to me that I wouldn't ever be able to compete in triathlon again, and that perhaps I should take up jigsaws or knitting as hobbies instead of sport, which isn't for me. And so the swimming was a way forward of trying to prove the doctors wrong, of being able to try to get back to being me again. And as I've built up, slowly I could swim further and further and stay in for longer and longer. and it's the best feeling in the world. Being able to swim in the lakes with the fish swimming underneath you and looking up at the mountains is just the best feeling in the world.